Okay, everybody, thanks so much for attending. This is a casual workshop, and we're just trying to. Mridul here was my student, and then Geraldine here was in my lab for a while also. They both are working now for Esco Aster, as you know, and they are the pioneers who set up the stem cell bioprocessing, and this one here is the bacteria microbes bioprocessing lab in Esco Aster. So I was very pleased to see them grow and then to have them back in the lab and then share their experience. It was a lot of fun to see Mridul was the poster boy on LinkedIn. So I figured I put that picture up there just for fun. And then I don't know if you see this, but that's Mridul right there. Yeah, so he became a poster boy. Okay, so I'm going to now let Mridul and Geraldine talk a little bit about themselves and their little journey. And if you have any questions as to what made them decide and how to prepare for the industry, because I think that many of you might have the same questions in terms of what do you do when you are getting ready for the job market? How do you prepare? Because Mridul and Geraldine, both of them, really just one of those, they have a pretty characteristic in terms of they don't care if they don't know anything about the job, and then they just go and do it, right? So this is something that might actually be, and then what helped them in that process of finding the job, having that kind of attitude. So I think that's probably something like this that they will share with you, and then maybe you can just ask him in more detail. And I will be here for about 45 minutes because I have to, and so you are free to explore and then have a little bit more casual conversation with Mridul and then Geraldine. Okay.
Thanks, Prof, for your kind introduction. And yeah, so this is more about casual, like talking about my industry experience and my academic experience, and then how we move from one area to another area, and what I felt in how the difference between these two environment, and then what the expectations are difference, or the kind of environment you might face is not about that. So okay, biography is most of you who knows me is currently I'm working as a bioprocess scientist in Esco since early 2020, and before that I was in the Prof Slim's lab as a research fellow, and before that as a grad student. I think I was here for like since 2013 to 2020. Yeah, and before that I had my undergraduation in chemical engineering, which is in Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology. So that's how I grow from my engineering, where I grew my interest in engineering, and then learn more about unit operations that really interest me, and biochemical engineering that was also one of my elective courses where I got the interest in moving into bio side. Then once I get the scholarship in NTU for PhD, then which is also bioengineering and biotech, so I just jump in that, and then yeah, right now still continuing. Hopefully I'll continue in this field. Yeah. So today just I think Geraldine, you want to share about your biography a little bit about just I don't have slide, but you just share with your.
So for me, I was doing undergraduate studies in NTU already previously, but it was in SBS. I was studying biomedical sciences with traditional Chinese medicine. So it was a double degree for traditional Chinese medicine and this biological science. Because actually I wanted to be a doctor. I couldn't be because I was born in the dragon year. There were too many competitions, so I decided to try for Chinese medicine. Yeah. So I finished that. I was very interested in cancer. I did 2 years exchange in China. So I did see how in China people use Chinese medicine and Western medicine together. So I was more interested in the mechanisms of cancer. I came back to Singapore. I stay on with NTU, but this time I joined SCB, BIE, bioengineering. So that was under Prof. Kathy. Then Prof. Kathy was doing a bit of Chinese medicine, and then looking at how this actually cure cancer. So that's how I joined her lab, and then I did a lot on cancer mechanisms, things like that. And so I did see that cancer is a very hard to cure disease, but then there's a lot of drugs out there, things like that. And I progress on and I see that, okay, the frontier of medicine has changed. Using drugs can't cure cancer. So I decided to venture into cell and gene therapy. That was a new topic where people will have. So yeah, maybe I just now I did share a bit. In 2013, there was this little girl who had leukemia, and then she was cured by this cell and gene therapy method. So that's when I ventured it into this space. So I joined Esco Aster to do this. So working on stem cells, seeing how it actually helps in curing cancer. But what I was exposed is much more biomanufacturing. So it's not so much into research, but more of how things happen in the industry. So this is actually what I see is two very different areas. So academic wise, I would say
I'll
it's...
go into that part.
Oh,
I
yeah.
need your help in that also.
So I'm supposed to say my biography. So
Yes.
okay, let's end off there.
I will go in that part.
Yeah.
I think
Mm.
those topics we will try to cover in combination, like my experience and her experience. Her experience is more details. I think she's like more than 3 years experience there. I have 1.5. Like, so she knows more about the manufacturing side. Yeah. So we'll go in that portion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to do that. Next slide. Okay, so yeah, just now she was touching on this research focus, like how the research is like different in like academics and then industry. So both of us are in actually in R&D in Esco Aster. So she's developing the stem cell, leading the stem cell team and developing the process for stem cell, or I'm actually doing the microbial cells. So I share my experience like that. When I joined Esco Aster had not that platform yet that time to do any microbial culture. We, as you known that Excel shared previously, like we have our own bioreactors. We design our bioreactor different technologies. So we are pretty much patented technology for mammalian cell culture, but microbial we didn't have that time. But now we have, and I was assigned to develop the process using that particular bioreactor. So so it's like the focus of this of the research was like that to use existing knowledge. I would say like use existing knowledge to make it commercialized, not like inventing some new technology. Inventing, not like inventing for publishing paper, like what I said here, like not pushing the boundary of the knowledge, but using the existing knowledge to make it available for people to use it like that. So that's how I see the difference. So in academics, we always do very new kind of research that we want to push the boundary and we want to publish. That is our one of the main criteria and the goal, right? In academic research. So in industry, we we are not pushed to publish the thing, but more like use the knowledge whatever is available and make it useful using our technology, and then make our technology useful for people. So like that. Yeah. So the consideration we always take into that, like whether this technology that the bioreactor cell I was given, whether it's like really feasible to work with that. We have to think about the scalability, whether this technology, whatever we have we are given, whether this can be scalable for like from a small scale to large scale, how we can convince our client that to use our product, what kind of data they want to see. Like say some client comes to me and say like I have this kind of strain. It could be bacteria, it could be yeast, it could be like and it could be for biopharma application, could be for food application. So diverse, like so I have to think a way to fit their application in my process. So how I'll provide the data, what they want to see. So what and also like how to feed their process in my bioreactors, yeah, like that. So this kind of processes we work and then try to show that okay, what the client wants to will be convinced about that, like that. So it's more about application, more about the usefulness of the technology, how we focus on that. Then also the regulatory aspect is there. So the different kind of product they are using. So whether that particular regulatory condition we can meet or not. Whether our, say, my bioreactor, right now I have it not GMP. So if someone wants a product that need to be like GMP grade, I cannot recommend my bioreactor to them. So that goes both way. Like either I say them, okay, this is not possible using this technology. I can suggest them some other technology. At the same time, I can give feedback to our company to okay to improve the product. So do the product development, whatever we technology we have right now. So make it like upgraded or like next version, next version. So feedback goes both way. So to client to tweak their process, and also to my management to to upgrade their product. Because the product we have in the first generation, so definitely it's going to be second generation, third generation. But really we need to get the feedback from the client side, the user side, and then pass it to the management side, so they can decide how they're going to upgrade the product in the next generation, like that. And yeah, market aspect, like we need to the product we develop for client, and also we develop product for like internally, like or Esco's product. So those things we think about the market, how what is the market of that product, and whether it will be useful or not, whether we can do it or not. This actually they have like both application, like whether we do it to know about like our processes, so that we can comment on like clients processes, and also um, to develop something to develop expertise within Expressor, like that. So these are the few area that I felt like in the industry, how the research work goes on there. It's always like like client concerning like what they want, whether we can fit their technology in our technology or not, and how we can improve our technology also, how we can improve our product, our expertise within the company. I like that. You want to share something about your experience on?
Uh, so yeah, it's actually quite similar to what Mridul has said. Academia and industry is very different. For what academia does, mostly into very in-depth mechanism or how things work. It's very literature based and a lot of research to be done, so that you can try to push through new technologies and see some new therapies coming up, things like that. But for industry wise, you don't really do such kind of mechanism studies or things like that. Most of the time, let's say in NTU, in a research lab, you will have already identified some labs, you will have some compounds, and then you say, I found this drug, it's good. So this is where a lot of labs starts out, and then I found drug A. But how do you actually push it into the industry? This is when the industrial companies, they'll come in, and then they see how do you actually make that drug A to be really usable for human use. So that's where the feasibility, the scalability, regulatory aspect, market aspect all comes in. So from the company point of view, it is always money. So whether this drug, it can be used for what disease or what target, that's what people what the market they will consider first. So after that, when the industry say yes, this drug is useful for cancer treatment, then they'll proceed and then to see how feasible is it for use in the body, and then they'll translate it into animal models and making it viable for the body. That's when formulation comes in. I need to pack it. How should I inject it into the body, or should it be taken orally? So the feasibility, things like that. And then scalability. How do I make this drug actually? So if it's very small scale in the lab, it can be done. But when it goes in the industry, this is when we need to do bioprocessing, large scale bioreactors, fermenters. And then that's where a lot of the industry comes in to look at this technology for scalability, because it's quite easy to make things small scale, but when you want to cook a large plate of fried rice, it might not be that easy. Yeah. And then the last thing is the regulatory aspect. So it will, no matter what drug, it will always go through this developmental phase. So from preclinical, mostly in animal models, then it's safe, good for human. Then that's where it translates into phase 1 clinical trials to check the efficacy, to check the safety. No problem. Then we go to phase 2. We check the efficacy and the safety. And then we go on to phase 3, where we check that there's no side effect long terms, and then safety, efficacy, and mainly these 3 aspects, all things pass before finally it can be produced as a real drug in the market. This developmental stage takes more than 10 years sometimes. And then the regulatory, how do you actually manufacture the drug? It is always in the concerns for industry people. So I would say this is 2 very different aspects for academia and industry-wise. Yeah.
Thanks, Geraldine. So yeah, so more about like how you transit, what are the difference between these two kind of environment, what are the type of works and type of expectation comes from, and then we can tell there like how you will actually what makes you be fit for this kind of environment, what kind of environment you may face there is like to make yourself fit for industry, and then from the academy to there it's like few of my philosophies like that. I did a lot of mistake in this lab, so I would say like do mistake. So and then that you will learn more about when you're doing mistakes, then it's like it will be in your memory forever when you do some mistakes. So and also I think it's good to note down like what things goes wrong. So once I was in a conference, there was one professor was saying like we should publish paper about our mistakes also, so that no one does the same mistake again and spend money and resources on the same processes. But that never happens, right? So yeah, and I think no one is interested to know about the failure, but it's also important. I feel that to have failure to learn and then to grow. Yeah. So also like you have to be out of your comfort zone. That in industry, what I felt like uh, I was in laboratory for like around 6-7 years, so doing the similar kind of job regularly. So you will feel like you are becoming expert on the particular things, but at the same time it will be your habit. So you will be missing out some small details that you will overlook, because you know this process is happening. So you won't be like that much attentive on that same processes. But when you are doing something new, then you are like scared, okay, it will be successful or not. Then you will be like more you will pay more attention on your job. Then you will focus on small details. So it will be very helpful when you go to industry, because like uh, the kind of situation I face there is like is a startup company that Excel was mentioning, like we have to wear different hats and have to do different job, not like just um, research kind of things. So once you do different kind of job, you need different kind of expertise also. Like starting say I want to buy like say boss asked me to buy an instrument, so I go to buy the instrument. Then it's not like just go and buy. So we need to do a lot of analysis to understand that the principle of this instrument. I need to understand the price, the consumable, the costing of the per run. So all these things like we when you do in the academy, we never think about that, because we are running the say in Prop Slim lab we have this chromatography machine, right? I don't know how many times I ran that machine, like 100 times. I never thought about the okay, how much is I'm actually uh, costing the money like for each and every run. Never thought about that, right? So now once I'm going to buy a new chromatography for our company, then I need to think about okay, what will be the per run cost, what will be the per year cost, or per client, how much I can charge for them. So all these things need to analyze by ourselves. So you need to have the knowledge of that one. Then knowledge means like you grow the knowledge. It's like it's not you will learn, but for us, like it's not like I will read that things and learn, but I have to think about it when I'm doing. But it's like I didn't know I have to look that much when I was doing in lab. But now I think you guys will have more exposure to that now. Now you can maybe you look next day,
Good point,
something like that.
Mridul. I'm glad you mentioned it.
So
That way everybody here knows that
so
you
and
need
then
to think about how much it
it's like
costs
another
every
another
single run.
another experience like say a very little experience I was sharing with Prof other day during the dinner time. Say in crop stream lab we do like say preparing buffer. We do always do the filtration and the degassing, right? So I did this like maybe 100 times also, but I never know like okay how much pressure actually I'm putting in the vacuum pump. Right? Uh, what is the tubing I'm using? Is it silicone tubing or is it something else? Plastic tubing or tubing? I never look at this. I just connect and do this thing and go away. Right? So once I went to industry, then I was asked, okay, buy a vacuum pump, buy a filtration system. So now I go to buy a vacuum pump, then what should I tell what vacuum pump I want? Is it like a very large? How much pressure do you need? I don't know, right? I never saw it. So this thing like I need to find out online. Then okay, to do a small like 1 liter vacuum, how much pressure I need, what kind of tubing I need. So the filter paper, maybe I was buying the filter paper here, so I know the diameter and I know the material. But sometimes or like when I was teaching the FYPs here, they don't care about this thing. So okay, paper is there, just put it and then run it. So it's better to know about all these small details that will help you in this kind of situation. Yeah. So that is the point about attention to details. So once you will go to that kind of environment, you will be asked to do almost everything. It's not like at least in a startup, right? Like there's no SOP, there's nothing is there. uh, I found it like an open space. Okay, the room is like even no light, no AC, like an open space, and make a lab. So from there you need to think about every utilities, what utilities you need, whether you need milky water or like DI water, or like what kind of water you need, what kind of uh, waste management you need. You need to think about all these things, because in lab, in the setup lab, like Roslyn already have a very nice lab which is like self-sufficient, right? Everything you have in your lab from for bioprocessing mostly, right? So once someone entered this lab, they already have this thing set up already. You don't have to think, you don't have to buy anything maybe, or maybe few things. So it's very easy to overlook those things. So yeah, it's better to get involved into more about these logistic things. So it will be helpful beside of course beside your research. So research is like main focus, but these things also will help you in the industry. Yeah, that is my observation from a nice lab to set up a new lab. Yeah. So yeah.
So don't be afraid. You need to be able to do multiple things, not just do your research. Is that what you're saying, basically, Mridul?
Yeah. Yeah. As Excel also mentioned about this, like you have to be in or different hats, right? So I was once I joined, I think within 3-4 months, I was given a different task because one person was on leave, and by that time, that person was on maternity leave. She was the only person doing that job, and we had a client to deliver the things in like 3-4 months time, and we just Excel put me, okay, you are the guy to run this thing. So I was running her team, and then I had to read, learn, and then prepare a lot of documents, and then do the job for her. Yeah. So it's like completely new. I didn't do anything like that in life. So things can happen like that, especially in startups.
Geraldine, you want to say some more?
Actually, what Mridul experience, I actually think is more of what happens in startup. Because in the industry, there are proper companies, MNCs, multinational companies, they do have their own system already set up, but it also cause the problem of people come in, I just follow the protocol, I just follow the procedure, and I don't know anything. So it becomes a very routine job, and then you become operator instead of researcher maybe. Yeah. So actually, when I was doing my PhD already, I was already like this microscope has this light bulb that can withstand 800 hours, and then after that we need to change it. Yeah. so I was already sort of like knowing some of the logistic, the cost, things like that, and then we were also a poor lab such that we have to pay attention. This antibody is $600. It can last for 100 tests. Okay, and then dilute. How should I do? So I would say it depends actually more of what you are doing, and then you try to relate it. Why are you doing that, and what is really happening, instead of just doing blindly. So even if I had a very good senior, Afu, if you all know. So yeah, he had a lot of things set up already, but then when he taught us, he will also explain why and what to look out for. So at that point of time, I was not blindly learning. I was very open to stuff. So when I went into a startup company, I had to set up the lab, blah, blah, blah. I had to find my own microscopes or things like that. I knew what to look out for. So I would say it's not so, it's the environment that push you into different things. And then at the same time, you need to have the personality to look out for these details and then learn by yourself. Yeah. So if just now, if you enter an industry that is much more structured, then maybe you don't get this opportunity. So yeah, for startups, it's more chaotic, as in you have to do a lot of things by yourself. You have to wear a lot of hats. I can do procurement one day, and then after that, I need to find the waste biohazard management people, and then after that, I have to ask the liquid nitrogen guys to come, and then after that, I have to ask the, hey, interns, can you all just take charge of the waste disposal, things like that. So we have to start a lot of things from scratch, but you wear a lot of hats, you do a lot of things, but at the same time, you learn. So depending on what you actually like, is it much more of a structured system? You go in, you learn the things, and then it's much more prim and proper. Everything is written out black and white. And then if you skip a step, everybody will look at you. So that are more of a structured MNCs. For startup, it's much more unstructured, and then you get thrown into many things. I get the opportunity of doing lab work, talking to clients, English and Chinese clients, or even Japanese customers. And after that, I also get to do a bit of product development, because they needed technical skills and expertise. So I can also work with engineers, and then software designers, things like that. So our job is very not just one item. You get experience in a lot of things. So that is more of a startup company, I would say. Yeah, there's no right or wrong to which kind of companies you join, or maybe you like the academia, you want to do very pure research, it's actually okay too. My husband is doing this kind of research, so he likes it and he's a nerd, and then he just focus on that one mechanism. Okay, good for him. So those people are more of papers, and then I see new mechanisms and insights to different things. So that is okay. But regardless of whether you are in the academia or industry wise, again, is what Mridul's point out. You can have mistake, you just do better the next time, and then be out of your comfort zone, regardless of where you are. As long as you try to progress to see new stuff, you don't just stay at one spot. You want to do more, then that's where you can actually fit into the environment, and then pay attention to details. Sometimes I'm actually not, but there are people under me who can actually sometimes point out that for me, so I'm very appreciative of them. So for me, it's more of a big direction where I help to draw up plans and all, and then I can give them tasks, and then they will help to build out the blocks together with me, and then they pay a lot of attention to details. Hopefully I do, because I do like yeah, I change the light bulb myself, and then learn things myself. So I do pay attention, but I won't say I'm those kind of like, I read the document and I'll pick out every single point of a mistake. No, I'm not those kind. But so this is how you make yourself fit in the company or even in academia. Based on your interest, I think that's the best way.
2000 has been used up.
Yeah,
So
just use.
I'm thinking, right, whether I can use the economy IGS money. When will IGS money?
Hello, is somebody talking?
I'm not sure.
So if that comes, maybe
if you can wait.
yeah, just leave that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can wait, just well, the 2000.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's the 3 slide I made, and I think we can get more questions from the audience.
All right, so that's Mridul and Geraldine. Two of my students who have done quite well in the industry and transitioning from academic research to industrial research. And I'm glad that they I'm really happy to have them here, really. It's been a while, and then I think it's such a pleasure. So having said that, I would like to open the floor for question and answer. And if you have questions for Mridul and Geraldine that relevant to your own reflections, or you would like to know a little bit more about how to transition, please feel free. I'm going to take off now, and let you all have fun. So this is a casual session. You can ask any questions you want. I won't be moderating. So it really is just for you to learn a little bit more from your seniors. Okay, have fun.
Thanks, Professor.
Thank you, Mridul and Geraldine. You have questions there? You can repeat the question and then.
But for that, it's all how the whole workflow works. If I'm joined, yeah. The thing is, if that's the shining of the file to be done, then start going to start. So that can be more. Is it more?
We'll check the questions.
You know, when I first joined the company was doing this direction, but actually nothing was set up. So when I first joined, it was really starting the lab from scratch and a lot of things. But then when you first join the lab, of course, when you first join a company, most probably people will tell you what they have for their technology, and then for a direction that they have, and then how do you do it actually, for me at the time was up to you to decide. We have this technology from Esco, and I have to make use of it, and our target is stem cell therapy. So that was where I just ventured into, and then I need this. If I need to do any research, of course I need a lab. So I just start off with setting out a lab properly, things like that. To have a lab, you need all your waste disposal and whatever. Okay, no choice, I have to do it. So you actually don't really know what you need to do, but yes, you have to figure out. You have a direction, you have a goal, or what you need to do, but then how to do or go about doing things is up to you. I can make the lab to be a crappy one, where I just have the basic instrument, or I can do it really well, such that it's of a GLP lab, it follows the highest standards, things like that. So again, it's back to your personality. How do you want to do things? The boss can only tell you this much. We have this direction, this is our goal. Maybe I want to utilize this into the projects. Then I have this amount of money. So after that, you will have to figure out yourself how to do things. You can ask friends, you can ask seniors, things like that. I was asking quite a lot of my friends and seniors at that time, and I was looking online a lot to search out the whole process of what I'm trying to build. So I would say it's a lot of trial and error, and then a lot of studying things yourself and then building it up. But what I'm saying is really startup level kind. Yeah, in a more structured company or MNC, you have staff that helps you board to the lab. There's a set of protocol, please read it. This is the lab safety rule, you must always follow it, things like that. So those are much more established. And then maybe you get to handle projects, and then there's a certain procedures or rules like that. So that one will be much more structured. So depending on where you actually go, sometimes I will feel that a lot of times people will just tell you, I have this target and this goal, and then how to do things, sometimes you really have to figure it out yourself. Yeah.
When you joined the company, what was the
Well, I'm employee number 2.
First one was Excel, is it? I was 41, but 41, but it's like not all of our 41s are like other 40s are. Other 40s are not all scientists, but they are like admin people and then scientists, and people comes, people goes, so number goes goes. It's not like always we have this much of people. I think right now we have around 25 scientists, like around across different teams.
Yeah.
I think we got one question in the chat box here. Sweta, who asked question about, okay, how do we manage to meet the expectation at work? And since there is a lot on the job training during the transition period from PhD and R&D at the startup. Yeah. Found the question? Or how do we meet the expectation at the job?
I would say number 1, you need to know what is the expectation that you are there for. Your boss hired you for this job. What is the expectation of your boss to you? So understanding that is very important. Then when you are transitioning from your PhD to R&D at a startup, so of course there's a lot of training, job training, some of it, a lot of learning it by yourself. Sometimes there's timeline. If there's timeline, then you really have to work on it. But if not, you get the luxury of thinking things out yourself, then you will have to be motivated. You have to know what you are doing. And then, of course, you have to look for help when you need it. If you are stuck in a problem, don't just go in circles. Do bring it up to your management or your bosses. They are the ones who hired you. And then, of course, you have to reflect that what is the difficulty, and then how you have progressed from when you had maybe 0. So this is how you show that what you have contributed to the company, and at the same time you point your difficulties so that your boss does feel that you are always contributing to the company. You are producing value of yourself. And then if you have difficulty, you speak to him, and then how do people come together as a team to solve it? And then to make a further move, I would think that's very important. So, but number 1, to outline this expectation timelines, if there's any. Yeah.
I think for the training part, most of the company, like even if it's not a startup, then definitely there will be a training session.
Yes.
When you're moving to industry, like maybe first 1 or 2 is like full training of different processes. If even it's a startup, like for my experience, I got training on several things in the beginning, even though we are a startup. But I got training from our other teams, others like the sales teams and or other scientific teams. So got different aspect. Like it may not be like perfectly on the on what I am supposed to do, but you have to collect the different knowledges and then put together, and then you define by yourself in a startup condition. Yeah. And I think for FYPs, there's a more chances. Like if you are undergrad, then our company also does like say FYP projects in collaboration with academia and industry. So for them, it's like more easier to know about what is going on there, to be in that situation and then learn about the processes. Yeah. Any more questions?
I'm curious, like what is the career path like in your startup?
In just my startup company or in general? I'm assuming most of you are PhD and then maybe going to industry. But okay, whatever it is, for PhD, most of the time people will start as scientists related to research or lab work. And then from there, you can progress and see how the industry works. So scientists, you can become senior scientists. There's sort of like 2 career path that's split. One is technical. You are very technical and you just focus on the technical portion. The other is actually management. So it depends on what you actually like. Technical wise, okay, we talk about technical. You can just always be in the lab. You become you are a scientist. You understand the knowledge very well. You are the technical person in charge. You become chief technical officer, CTO, or CSO, chief scientific officer. These are the career path for people who are scientific group. There's also business development, in the sense that they don't talk money, but they talk about the technical portion to clients. So if the client has a problem with a product, in the industry is mostly product or services. So if the industry is selling product, of course we need a technical specialist. So it's the technical person speaking to clients. I will consider as business development side. And then, so that is more of the technical portion. The other portion is the management role, where you start off with the scientist role, you senior scientist or something, and then after that you manage a group of people. By the time you are senior scientist, most probably there's a team under you, and then of course whenever you have a team, you are actually managing people. But then as this goes on, you get to do management work. You can become a section leader, a section manager, or else you go upwards. You become a chief of staff or things like that. So management is actually what most people move onwards. It's sort of like the career halfway upwards. Yeah. So I would say in these two main roles are actually in
competition. Like how many people can get promoted and
sorry. So you have tons of scientists, and then senior scientists is okay, scientists maybe four person per team, and then senior scientists is like 1 to 4 of the scientists. From senior scientists, you need someone higher up who takes care of the whole developmental team. So it's dependent on how the whole company is. If it is small, of course, there won't be a lot of people. But so team lead is also something like the senior scientist, and then senior scientist upwards is like the head of this whole group, function group or developmental group. Sometimes it's called developmental head. Depends on the
R&D
different
head
company.
maybe.
Yeah, then there's the R&D head. R&D head, sometimes there's only one. Development head, 1 or 2. Depends on the company structure.
It really depends on the organization chart and how big they are. It's like a small company to large company.
Yeah. So in
It's
Esco, Aster, like I'm doing stem cells, Mridul is doing fermentation. We are team leads, and then there's somebody on top of us, and then there's also our board. The CEO is the highest lah. So that is how the organizational chart is right now. Then management will be more admin lah. Yeah. So not that much. Yeah. Something like that. In the style of company is what?
and how is the career path like?
Oh, that one is generally what happens in a company. Because sometimes style there can be only 5 people. What do you want? So that means if it's really a startup, that means maybe if 5 people, the person who is handling clients can also be the one who is handling lab staff, who is handling logistics, who is handling admin at the same time. So most of the time it depends on the structure. It depends on the size of the company. Yeah. So startup, because there's not a lot of money to hire so many different people. So in the end, everybody will have different pets. Yeah. So one person can have many pets. That's where it comes from. Yeah.
Also, like you have like more opportunity actually there. Like you'll do different kind of job, and it also you can explore different kind of job, and you will know okay which one I like. Maybe you will find something a new interest of your, and then you can feel like okay this kind of job I would like to do in future. So you can because the floor is open there more, because the less of people there, and then once the company will grow, definitely they need this person in permanently in that position, so uh, you can fight for that position. So it's like more open there. In a multinational company, or like in a structured company, people are already there. So as Excel was mentioning, like either that person have to leave, then you need to fill up the position.
Yeah.
So it's like more difficult than
So a startup, you get to grow together with the company. So if you are the pioneer, then you will have more knowledge, and then you get to be one of the top, where the rest fill in at the lower gaps or at the same level as you. Yeah. For structured will be quite different. Yeah. Sometimes it might be a manager from Switzerland comes in and the person is your head. Yeah. Okay, no more questions?
yeah, no more questions from
I
here.
have something here to healthcare pharma, because I understand biomedical sciences.
Hi, is there
that's
somebody speaking?
So
Do you mute the person? Was he asking us question? Which year are you in?
Yeah.
Graduate school.
Oh, so you are considering right now.
Yeah, but I'm curious, how do you decide, like, at that time, like, you want to
I would say it's opportunities then. For me, I didn't mind going into the industry. But for you, do you have a are you sure that you are like a scientist and you always want to do science and you just don't want to be in the industry, or you are open to things? Because there are mad scientists who just focus, okay, not mad scientists, just scientists who are very keen in research, who just want to do a certain thing, and that's just looking at their science. Yeah, so those kind of people are the ones who are in academia. Oh, sorry, actually, also not really.
I like the way transition.
Okay, yeah. So, like I like mechanisms of cancer. I studied it well, but I was also okay to continue my postdoc. I can do further research on it, and then still using cell and gene therapy, and then just focusing on cancer mechanisms. No problem. But Singapore, not a lot of people were doing that at the time. And then at the same time, if you want to do a postdoc, it's best to go overseas, because you are in Singapore for so long. Staying in NTU, you won't get to learn more things. A lot of the environment is already quite set. But if you go overseas to Europe, Germany, UK, and US, you get to see the latest technology. If you look at published paper, sometimes you look at a paper, it only has proteomic results. It just have a very single technology showing very fancy data, and then it shows up on Nature. What do you feel about it? So this is where technology actually stands out in US. Using that one single newest technology, which we can't do in Singapore, they get to have a whole data set of maybe cancer. So if you are just in Singapore, you don't get to see this kind of technology. So if you want to do postdoc, I would say to go overseas will be better. Unless, sorry, COVID, things are hindering you. But do consider trying other environment where the technology and culture is really very different. Yeah. Then postdoc, most of the time, actually, if you want to translate into industry at that time, it's also okay. There's no right or wrong to this, but for academia, it's very, there's a single route only. You either become professor or you just stay as a postdoc research fellow forever. This is true for anywhere. Astar is Singapore's only institute for research, but it's also taking the same path. Postdoc, research fellow, you can be a staff scientist, you can be at a, what's that? Senior research staff scientist, and then you can be a head of a team. So it's actually quite similar to the professor route, just that you don't have to teach in A-star. So if that's what you are looking out for, you can also be there. But you must always remember, actually, all these professors, in the end, two things: collaborations and fundings. These are all very important. So they need to talk to a lot of people. They need to see what is there in the field and then see how to collaborate, especially with industry. Yeah, the world goes the same, money. So whether you are in academia or industry, there's always this connection to be able to collaborate, and then for fundraising or money making or things like that. Then so there's no right or wrong for industry and academia. It's just which path you like. Yeah. Change of topic when you go to a postdoc. Actually, I think it's okay, because no matter where you go, even if I go to industry, I also change my topic totally. But again, do you have a certain interest in certain things, or are you looking out for anything in particular? When you change your from PhD and you change to postdoc, when you change topic, it's also the best time when you can see what you actually like, or what is the most frontier technology that you want to pursue. Not all technologies are of at the same platform. So in 10 years down the road, maybe what you are doing will die out. So at that kind of time, maybe you might regret doing this certain topic for your postdoc. So this is why in Singapore it's very realistic. When the government says, I want to put more money into screening drugs, everybody does that. I want more application, bioengineering and all the engineering schools starts to make a lot of the robotic stuff or whatever. So currently the future is more of AI, cell and gene therapy. So this might be some points that you can look up for. And then big data sets, yeah. So you can see, firstly, what you are doing, is it more related to the most popular technology? There's a good reason why all these are blooming up. And then your interest, what are you actually interested in? So a lot of small labs, they actually gear their research onwards to these technologies, I would say. Yeah.
Do you have some examples of this advanced technology?
In the sense, what kind of examples are you looking out for?
What kind of technology
like just now I was saying, the technologies that's most used is like automation. So if you are doing engineering, a lot of no matter what you do, you must remember that people live longer. So healthcare is one of the most popular things. Yeah. Again?
People need to live longer.
Yes. People are just always trying to live longer or to study all different diseases. So in the end, regardless of whether you are doing chemistry or physics or engineering, a lot of the time, all this can go back to bio. Yeah, chemical, and then how do you actually use it for bio, for your health? Physical engineering, how do you actually use it for all the research study, for all the engineering to your body, things like that. There's artificial heart, your ECG and whatever. You can have engineering knowledge, but you apply it to bio. So, but when I say like the frontier technologies, so regardless of what is your strength, you can see how do you apply it to these popular areas lah, like automation. Even if you are doing engineering, if you want to do towards automation,
I think I
yes.
just add on the some engineering part. Like my background was actually from engineering, chemical engineering, where actually I studied different unit operations. Like say you want to do drying, you want to do chromatography, gas chromatography, lipid chromatography, separation. A lot of different techniques I study as an undergrad. That when I joined as a PhD, it was like completely bio. So I didn't need that knowledges when I was doing the PhD, because in PhD I don't need like that big scale things, like, because in chemical engineering everything I learned about designing in terms of like tons. When I came to bio lab, it's like become nano size. So it's like from kg tons I came to nano area. Now when I even again I moved to industry, again it became larger. So now I have to think about tons again, kgs again, maybe now milligram. So what in future need to think. So how the knowledge is actually I'm thinking, I'm seeing that my knowledge from my undergrad in between, it was like I didn't use it, but now when I'm industry, it comes to me. I might need to use these things, because here I am doing large scale separation, large scale drying. So my knowledge from my undergrad is actually coming handy right now, because of my engineering knowledge there. I can easily understand the mechanism of each unit operations quite easily right now. Like as a, if I say like my, if I come from the science background, may not be as that easy for me, but now I'm feeling that, yeah, I'm using that knowledge. Yeah. So one more thing to add on, like as you asked previously, Jarin answered already, that if you want to change the subject or topics in your research or something, I think it's better to change. I would say, like, if you have like really don't have really have some passion for on particular things, then it's better to explore more and to learn more. uh, um, so if you go to different topics, definitely you have to learn from a lot of things from scratch. Then you whatever you learn in your PhD, maybe first 1 year 2 years like of PhD, you do literature review, right? But you know how to literature, do the literature review now. So when you will go to postdoc, you won't take like 2 years, but it will take like only maybe 2 months to do the same kind of same level of job. So it will increase your efficiency and in your expertise. Yeah. And how to do the job, and also at the same time learn the new things. So I would say, like, not to confine yourself in a small world. Yeah.
What's your background now?
From chemical engineer when I was undergrad. Now also doing bio stuff.
It will I think it will help you if you go to if you
Actually,
do large
chemical
scale,
engineering is very useful for
a
my
lot of things actually chemical engineering.
yeah. All the industry out there, they want chemical engineer. They don't want me. Because the process is so structured, they only need chemical engineers to help to validate bioreactors or the unit operation, or to make sure the equations are all correct and whatever. The biology is, it has been researched and done and finished, so they don't need me. Yeah.
So you go your expertise. That's so definitely you need.
Yeah, so you see the bioscientists focus on
Yeah.
the science, the mechanism.
Yeah, our
the,
problem
the
also,
engineer ones,
I
yeah.
think problem also chemical engineer undergrad. Yeah.
Mm. But you see, you use nanoparticles, proteins, and whatever, and then see drug delivery into bodies, things like that. So having this engineering knowledge is also good. You can utilize it and see how it actually be used for bio or whatever is going to be the frontiers in future, lah. The technology out there. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, we can. I think we
Okay.
can wrap up here. I think no more questions here. Let me check one more time. Just